That is correct. I am never on time. This is the conversation that we are having. I am never on time. And you know, there's that thing on Facebook says, you know, sorry I'm late, I didn't want to come. That's not even always the case. I mean, there are times I really want to go and do stuff, but I, I just can't motivate. I get it's like, you know, it's like squirrel, you know. I mean, like I'm doing other stuff. On a day when I have other things to do, I start having energy to do 1,000 things that I never do when I have the time. So I don't know. It's like it must be like some sort of a mental illness or something. I don't know. I can't figure it out. But yeah, we were just talking about the fact that I came from my niece's first birthday party. Her birthday was actually on the 25th of September. Zach, let's pull up the picture of Parker and Blake. There are my girls. My goodness, I love them so, so much. Parker is the older and Blake is the younger. We had her first birthday party today, and you know, they are two completely different young ladies. Parker is very social and outgoing and very sensitive. Blake is more reserved and very much, I told Sarah, she's very much my niece. She doesn't like strangers and she doesn't like want people around her. It's really funny. But she'll grow out of that. Parker wasn't like that at that age, but I'm sure Blake will grow out of it. She's just, you know, more reserved. But they are both beautiful and smart and my little girls, and I had a great time. Parker ran down the street when I parked the car to say hello to me, got a big hug. She wouldn't let go. It was awesome. And I actually had some quality time with Blake, which she does not dole out lightly, so that made me feel really good. What? Zach is in there laughing. He's horrible. And I know why he's laughing, but that's all good. um, so yeah, it was a really great time, and happy birthday to my little one. And the next time we will hang out as, you know, extended family will be Thanksgiving, and I look forward to that too. Um, all it's yeah, it's coming really quickly. I'll take the camera back, Zach. Needless to say, and I always say this, they're my nieces. They're my, you know, besties, little girls. When you're an only child, and so is your bestie, you know, your aunts are your choices. You know, which is that whole, you know, you can pick your family sometimes, and that's really cool. But they're my girls, and I love them. And um, I did have to miss Kane's Crusades, Kane-toberfest today, and that made me sad, but it was good to be around my little girls. I know that there were so many of my friends attending Kane-toberfest. Hudson the Railroad Puppy was there, and Cherry Garcia was there, and Juno and Jake, and Jameson's Journey, and Bert's Brigade, and Hannah's Home, and just so many other, Madison's Mission. I'm not sure if Gizmo was there this year, but there was just, it was a nice time last year, and I guess I'm glad that they didn't do the condo build this year, because you know they did that in previous years, and it was ended up being, I think, just Juno's mom and Hannah's mom doing the work of building their condo, which is basically they build dog houses for dogs so they have shelter when they're outside. But they didn't do the build, and I guess that's a good thing since I couldn't be there, since I had said that I wanted to be part of Juno's team this year. So I guess they'll do a build another time, and if Juno's in, then I'll be in, and that'll be that. And who knows, maybe Zach will come help build a condo too. We could be klutzes together, because he's laughing. You know, I don't know that it's power tools, Zach. I think it's probably okay. I think it's probably okay for both of us. I don't think Zach is going to tell us he feels very comfortable around power tools, but hey, I'm not a real genius either. I'm better with a plain old hammer and nail, but you also have to watch out because I've been prone to do some ouchful things. Anyway, on to tonight. October, which we were just saying how fast the year has gone by. We're October, it's going to be Halloween soon. That's a beautiful thing, but I digress. October is both Pit Bull Awareness Month and Adopt a Shelter Dog Month. Now, these are two things, in my opinion, that deserve attention every day. Pits are a heated topic. People who buy into the media hype and are fueled by ignorance never give some of the best dogs in the world even a chance. Over and over, pit bulls are a victim of violence and abuse and even murder. Breed-specific legislation is at the top of the list right now as far as what is going on in the ignorance category. Montreal recently passed a ban on pit bulls, and that's breed-specific legislation at its worst. We have some places here in this country that don't allow pit bulls, but when you've got a place that's instituting it, it creates quite a stir for the people who do support the animals and for the people who have them. The Montreal ban proposed to limit the number people could have, required the dogs to be neutered, spayed, neutered, up to date on vaccinations, which, okay, I'll buy into that, but that should be with any dog, not just one specific breed. It was also going to require them to wear muzzles all the time. And I'm not talking about the little dinky, I'm talking about basket muzzles. And if you've never seen a basket muzzle, I mean, it almost looks like a catcher's mitt. But what kind of life are you imposing on an animal who has to wear that thing like all the time? Then the kicker, excuse me, I'm dying. The kicker was that, they had to register them. And of course, that was going to be to generate income. Go figure. The dogs that were in the shelters were pretty much deemed as no longer adoptable, and they were sentenced to death. Fortunately, there was legal intervention. There was a lawsuit that was filed, and I guess there is, a temporary stay, literally, of execution for the shelter animals, and it put a wrench in the works, obviously, of all the rest of it. And the whole thing has created a bit of a frenzy. There were many movements that people got on board to try to get the dogs out of Montreal before they were sentenced to death, before they were killed. And there were a lot of people who were expressing concerns about that, largely because their point of argument is that there's enough animals everywhere else in the United States dying in shelters. And that's true. There are still, I think the operative number is, a good 10,000 animals a day, 10,000 a day killed in our shelters in this country. Pits are at the top of the list. They are the most murdered in the shelters. And I always throw this in there for what it's worth. Chihuahuas run a close second because these are like, popular wannabe dogs or whatever, popular with wannabes who just, overbreed them. And, that's another whole argument of mine, and I've been there before. But how do we allow mass killing? There's just so much dispute, even for bringing dogs up from down south. It's a heated topic. How do we bring dogs up from down south when there are dogs up here who are dying? How do we bring dogs from Montreal into this country when our own dogs are dying? But how do we pick and choose? How do we make it okay that there's a dog down south that could be saved and have a home up here? How do we justify, no, leave that dog down there to die because there's other dogs that are dying up here? We have to make some tough decisions in rescue. Regardless of zip code, we've got to save all of them that we can. How can we let a dog die in a shelter who's got a home? I mean, it happens all the time, as far as some of these shelters being run by heartless, expletive deleted people who will kill an animal, knowing that a rescue sometimes is literally in the car and on the way. But if we can prevent that, how do we do that? How do we say, nope, you know what, leave that dog down there even though someone will take it? We have our plates full as a people, and we can't make it any worse by being stubborn, by being, I don't know what the word is other than stubborn. Keep the southern dogs down there, let them die down south. Let's do something for our dogs. We're failing. The bottom line is that we're failing. Shelter dogs didn't ask to be in the position that they're in. They're often dumped or walked away from in these death camps. They miss love. Sometimes even when they come from bad situations, that's the only thing that they ever knew. They sit in a shelter scared. They have no idea that there would even be better for them out there. But they will be in the shelter system and die, never getting the chance to know that there's something better for them out there. And they will die, scared and alone, and at the hands of strangers who are indifferent to their very existence. So, do we let as many die as possible, or do we save as many as we can? It's difficult. It's not fair to have to pick and choose. But it goes, for all dogs, not just pit bulls. They're all worthy of us trying. And until we change, people are the problem. People are really the problem. All kinds of dogs, cats as well, are dying in shelters every day. We need to stop targeting the animals and try to control the people. We are actually what's wrong with the whole situation. Spaying and neutering needs to become mandatory. It absolutely does. There's no way to fix the problem of all of the animals that are already here. We've got to do something to save them. But going forward, how do we prevent this from being such a problem? These animals don't deserve to die. They didn't ask to be born. Backyard breeding needs to be cracked down on. Puppies should not be big business, but it's become easy And it's become easy money for dirtbags who have no concern about the future of the animals that they're bringing into the world. These accidental litters, that's got to stop. If there was mandatory spaying and neutering, there would be no accidents. And then there's the whole mentality that people just refuse to be responsible. There's no need for an animal to have a litter before you spay or neuter. Oh yeah, they need to just have, puppies once. No, they don't. No, they don't at all. There's a special place in hell for people who breed and overbreed these animals. Pets are so much more than a commodity, and their lives matter. For the sake of profit, for the sake of, I don't know. I don't know why people do it. I can't imagine that there is a valid reason just to keep breeding animals other than that you're a lazy, greedy slob. And, there's a fine line where this can go into the whole puppy mill thing, but I'm going to keep it off of that. I've been there before, and I'm sure I'll be there again. But, these people who have no regard for where the animals that they bring into the world end up will go so far as to sell puppies and kittens that are days old, weeks old, far from being at a point where they should be away from their mother. These poor animals, you give it to any idiot on the street who comes up with money, they don't know how to take care of that dog's going to die. That kitten's going to die. They don't care because they've been paid for it. And the poor mother dog is just going to keep having to be subjected to this process over and over and over again until they dump her, kill her, fight her, do something with her. This is where this whole thing is coming from, where these dogs end up in shelters. They don't care where they end up, what kind of hands they fall into. People who, I'm moving, I'm this, I'm that, it's too much work, they don't care. We've got to make spaying and neutering mandatory. We've got to find a way. I don't know how, but we've got to find a way, because that's going to be the only way that this craziness stops. And I really wish that there was a viable plan. I wish there was something that was already in place and about to be enforced, because it just gets worse and worse every day, along with the problem of all these animals dying in shelters. You see how the root of it all comes back to people and their irresponsibility. They don't care for the animals they have, they dump them. They don't care for the future of the animals they bring into the world. The animals that they have are nothing more than producers and a means of income. We've got to stop all that. That's the root of it. Once we get the population under control in that way, going forward, I firmly believe that we would have so much less of a problem. We wouldn't have to be fighting about, whose dogs are coming from where and who's adopting what and who's getting saved. They should all be saved. They should not be in a position to have to be saved. People need to be responsible. And it's just, I get so upset over the things I see. I'm quiet a lot now, but there's so much going on in my head that it hurts. I just don't understand people's mentality that animals mean so little and are just like these total throwaway things. On to some adoptables, because 3 of my birthday dogs are still waiting for their forever homes. And you know what, folks? It's Adopt a Shelter Dog Month, and it's Pit Bull Awareness Month. So guess what my final 3 are? Pit bulls. So first up, we have Lucas. Zach, let's get a couple pictures of Lucas up there. Look at this face. Lucas is a most amazing dog. He is just full of personality. He loves his tennis balls. They're like his security blanket. He's house trained to a fault. People, that's one of the things that, you're nervous about bringing home a shelter dog. Am I going to have to work on house training? Is he going to go in my house? This dog, guaranteed, hands down, is not going to start having mistakes in your house. He is house trained to a fault. He's a sweet, happy dog who has had so little interest that it's painful. I don't know. I don't understand how you could not meet this dog and not fall in love. He's got a Facebook page for the love of Lucas, and there are videos up there of him playing with kids, of just him being like a goofball and having a good old time. He makes you just want to scoop him up and love him. So why? He's been shared everywhere. My co-sponsors, hands down, are doing such a fabulous job of getting him out there and getting him the exposure. But he's just sitting there, and I don't understand why. Look at that little face. He is adorable, and he's a love to match. So, if you've got any interest, if you're somebody who shares on Facebook, for the love of Lucas on Facebook, if you're interested, you can call the Town of Hempstead Animal Shelter at 516-785-5220. Next up is Buddy. We've got a couple of pictures of Buddy. And Buddy is another amazing dog. Look at that happy face. Exactly. That's that classic pit bull smile. I think there's one other picture of Buddy, and you can bounce back and forth. That's it. That's his life. He's in a cage at the shelter. I mean, it's sad. He is another gem who's been overlooked. He's been at the Town of Hempstead Animal Shelter for a year. He's social with other dogs, but he should probably be an only for now. He loves people. He loves his toys. He needs someone to love him and who's going to have patience with him and give him some training and the miracle that he's been waiting for a year. He's another guy who, for some reason, people just, he's not had the interest. And it's sad to think he's been sitting there for a year. There are dogs who've sat there longer. And that's heartbreaking as well. But he really needs a miracle. And if you're interested in Buddy, the number to call is 516-785-5220. And last but not least, we've got Da Vinci. This guy is just stunningly handsome. Da Vinci is the last survivor of the Sweet Pea fire, and he's still in need of a home. Now, in spite of some of the unfortunate goings on with Sweet Pea, what matters is that this dog still needs a family. Da Vinci is definitely a solo pet commitment for a situation that doesn't have children either. So he's a little bit of a tough sell. He absolutely can't be around other animals, but he will love his people without measure. He's a young adult, so it's a long-term commitment. He's an active, sweet boy who is gentle and loving. He loves to play. He loves to go hiking. He loves attention. He's just a really cool dog, and he just cannot be around other animals. There are dogs like that. It happens, and it's not impossible to find a home, but it is a tough sell. If you are interested in Da Vinci, you can call 508-757-7959. Once again, that's 508-757-7959. And let's roll through those pictures, all of them again, Zach. We've got Lucas. We've got Buddy. And we've got Da Vinci. Those are the last 3 birthday dogs who are still waiting for homes. And, I'm not going to leave it alone. going to keep bringing them up until they find a place to go. I'll take the camera back, Zach. So there's my rant for the night. Pit Bull Awareness Month, Adopt a Shelter Dog Month. Definitely topics that I'm glad that there is a month dedicated to it. I'm glad that there's the awareness, but it's material that really needs to be in people's minds all the time. And one of the things that would help get these dogs out of the shelters and out of the time frame of the expiration of their lives is if people would foster. And that, again, is something I beg for all the time. It's kind of like rent to own. A good rescue is going to cover all the expenses. All you supply is the couch to crash on and the love. Speaking of love, before we go, it's hard to see, but there was face painting at the party today, and the heck with the face paint. I took out my Sharpie and I let the girl do a peace sign, a heart, and a paw print. Because it's what it's about time for us to say, folks. I think it's about that time for us to say. We got another minute? Okay. Well, we all know where I'm going with it anyway. Props to Angie, because she did a really good job with a lot of the face painting and stuff, and I couldn't resist. Definitely, I'm not somebody who's going to get my face painted, but someday maybe I'll have a little tattoo like this. It's the peace sign, it's a purple heart, and it's a little paw print. She did a really good job, and I couldn't say goodnight without bringing that to everyone's attention. So anyway, don't forget, on the 22nd, speaking of pit bulls and Pit Bull Awareness Month, is the 10th annual Connecticut Pit Bull Awareness event. So we'll talk more about that between now and then. Go down and check it out, and check out some of these dogs and the rescues that work so hard to save them. Now it's time, I'm going to say, peace, love, and dogs. Until next week, good night, everybody.